Hey guys, DOWSEY here, and welcome to a video on how to install, set up, and configure ReShade. Guys, anti-aliasing is now re-enabled, and we don't have a way to disable it. I did a small fix on how you can sharpen your game to make it look a little bit better, but trust me, there are better methods of dealing with your Dead by Daylight. For example, this is what your Dead by Daylight looks right now. Wouldn't it be so nice if your Dead by Daylight instead looked like this? Wait, what was that? From that to this makes a big difference. Stick around, guys. We're going to be jumping on into the tutorial on how to set up ReShade and change your game to look a little bit cleaner, sharper, and more colorful. Alrighty, so let's jump into this tutorial on how to install ReShade onto your Dead by Daylight. For those who are wondering what ReShade does, it's an advanced post-processing software which integrates with a game to then apply filters on into the game. It is whitelisted by Easy Anti-Cheat, so those who are worried that this might get them banned from Dead by Daylight, you don't have to worry about that, as Easy Anti-Cheat has whitelisted this program, allowing people to use it to modify the look of their games. If you wanted to, you could achieve a very similar thing using your NVIDIA Freestyle, which is completely undetectable by programs. It's why Easy Anti-Cheat doesn't consider this cheating, is because, you know, you could achieve the same thing with a monitor settings in theory. It's about adapting the way the game looks through your monitor, but ReShade does it actually by doing so in the game. So let's click download here and get the latest version. For us, that's version 4.6.1, which was released on April the 14th, 2020. It's currently the 29th of April, 2020. It's possible that when you watch this tutorial, some of the setup processes would have changed, but the basic tutorial remains the same. Just keep in mind, I guess, that it's possible that a new version of ReShade hasn't been whitelisted yet by Easy Anti-Cheat, and if that's the case, you may have to go to an older version. So I guess if you want to be following this tutorial to the letter, then version 4.6.1 is your best bet. Save that file and launch it real quick. You're going to get an open file security warning. Don't worry too much about that. That's just pretty standard stuff with Windows trying to protect your PC. Here it is, the ReShade setup version 4.6.1. You want to click the first option here, which is select a game and manage its ReShade installation. ReShade is going to search your PC and try and find all the games on your PC for you to use. We're going to select the Dead by Daylight Win64 shipping exe. Do not select the Easy Anti-Cheat launcher for Dead by Daylight. Select the Win64 shipping. If for whatever reason you can't find that, come into your Steam apps, which is, for me, located in Windows C drive, program files, Steam, and then common, Dead by Daylight binaries, Win64. Select the Win64 shipping.exe. It's going to ask which API to use. Select Direct3D 10, 11, and 12. It's then going to ask which effect packages to download. We're going to select the Legacy Standard effect. It's then going to download the default shaders, which we don't care about, so we're going to select uncheck all. It's then going to download Sweet FX. There's a couple here that we like in this. We're going to be going for Luma Sharpen here. We're going to be going for Technicolor 2. What else do I want? I want ambient light, if that's one of these ones. It is not. Also want colorfulness and bloom, which I don't think is any of these here. No, they aren't. That's fine. So the other effects that I want for this are going to be found after we download the massive, large legacy effects depository. So once we've got that, we can select them. We've got ambient light here, which is great. We also want to download colorfulness. There they are. So we've got ambient light, colorfulness, Luma Sharpen, Technicolor 2. I'm missing one, SMAA, which is usually pretty solid. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have 6 selected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What am I missing? Ambient light, check mark. Oh, bloom. Of course, bloom. Ambient light, bloom, colorfulness, Luma Sharpen, SMMA, MAA, and Technicolor 2. So hit OK and click Edit ReShade Settings. We're going to skip the tutorial as this is not something we need to worry about personally. We will show you how to use the tutorial. So we're going to hit OK on that, exit out of ReShade, and then we're going to launch our Dead by Daylight real quick. Here you can see the Easy Anti-Cheat Launcher is loading, and once that is done so, you'll notice that Dead by Daylight is happily going to load in the background as Easy Anti-Cheat has scanned the program to see if there's any unwhitelisted software running, such as a cheat, for example. So let's switch on over to my Dead by Daylight scene here real quickly. And on your first load of Dead by Daylight, you might find that it's a little bit slow as ReShade basically gets itself set up on top of your Dead by Daylight. You're actually going to get a warning up here for ReShade. It's disappeared real quick for me. It's basically going to tell you to press the home button if you would like to launch your ReShade. So let me just jump on over to the killer screen so you can see what it's doing live as we enable all of the effects. And then we're going to press our home button to launch the ReShade config menu. So players killer, home, boom, here we are with ReShade enabled. You'll notice that we have a bunch of effects here that we can turn on. Before we do so, let's head over to the settings tab and set up a couple of hotkeys. I'm going to change my overlay key to be Shift F2. That's just a personal preference for me. I prefer that. I'm also going to change the effect toggle key to be Shift F3. Now that I've done that, I'm going to head back over to the home key. And I'm going to press Shift F3. Oh, I haven't actually enabled any of these. So let me just enable all of these first. Oh, look at that. That game is looking very bright and colorful. So this is what it looks like with all the effects enabled at their default settings. And this is what Dead by Daylight looks without it. This is your brain on drugs. This is your brain off drugs. No, I'm joking. Right. Let's go through all these different settings to actually get these set up nicely. So I'm just going to pull up the settings menu here and we'll go through them one by one. So first up, we have ambient light, which I'm going to immediately reduce down to about 2.4. 2.4. It's a bit of a tricky process here, guys. I've literally gone through and fiddled with all these settings many times in the past. I am going to be referring to my list of previous configs, just so you know. You may want to change these and fiddle around with your settings yourself. You know, don't take my word for it that this is the best setup. This is the setup that I like personally. So we're going 2.4 on our base intensity. I'm reducing the intensity for not bright light to 1. We're going to go for 4 actually, which is the biggest on the correction for bright light. And then I'm going to reduce this down to about 8. 880 is pretty good. There we go. And then I'm actually going to slide the base black levels up to 4 as well. We're going to keep our dirt on, turn text off, vibrance off. Lens is going to be off as well. That's our ambient light configured. Next up is bloom. This is a big one. So let's play around with these sliders here. So we're going to start off with a 5.6 on the pixel brightness bloom threshold, 5.6-ish. It's good. Then we're going to go for 0, which is almost set up on the bloom amount. We don't need too much bloom. We're going to go for 7.85 on our saturation levels. Do we want to play around with the colors here at all? Yeah, let's move reds down to 170. Let's move our green down to 200. And our blue can come down to about 198. There. We don't need to mess around with dirt. Oh, actually, we do need to mess around with dirt. So we're going to change this to 5.6 here. Again. Actually, no, this is 2.6. My bad. And then we're going to reduce this down to 1.6. And then we're going to just leave all of these colors at their base levels. Flare enable, we're going to leave off. And then the lens enable, we're going to leave off. The B clap enable, the B gray enable, we're leaving off. That's our bloom settings set up here. Colorfulness is quite a big one. We're actually going to buff this up a little bit to 5.2. And then we're going to reduce this by quite a margin. We're going to move this all the way down to 0.5. Like so. Leaving our divot off. The noise is on, and we're going to leave that at 8. And that's our colorfulness set up there. Luma Sharpen here. This is what really adjusts those edges to look good. I actually like to just boost this all the way up to 3 and 1 and leave it as such. You may not like that as much, but that's my preference. We're going to leave the SMAA at its default levels here. Technicolor is our last option here. That's what's really making this game look so bright and vibrant. So let's remove our reds down to 50. Our greens we're going to bring all the way down to 15. And our blues we're going to leave at 50 as well. And then we're going to reduce the brightness down just a little bit to 5.550. And we're going to move the saturation down just a little bit as well, down to 785 as such. Our strength going to come down just a tiny little bit to 430. There she goes. Right, so not as overwhelming and bright as it was before. Now all we need to do is click performance mode down here, which is then going to reload the clips and get rid of some of the settings in here that makes the reshade lag a little bit. So let's just get rid of the overlay, and there you can see it. The difference in our game as such, right? This is your Dead by Daylight by default. Holy God, it looks so blurry. It is unreal, the difference. And then let me just get rid of my webcam just so you can really see here the difference on Spirit, for example, when you enable those effects there. It just adds a little bit of color to the game. It really tidies up and sharpens the Spirit massively. I'm going to chuck it to a Kill Your Friends just so you can see even up close the detail on the Spirit, for example, and her hair, the blurriness. Let's switch it over to another killer. Let's go with the Oni, right? The Oni has a lot of lines and edges to him. Looking sweet there, mister. And then boom, all those colors start to pop on him. The lines are far more defined on him, which is quite nice. Now, like I've said, these are the settings I personally like on ReShade. You can see as we lowered especially the Technicolor and the colorfulness, strength, for example, you can brighten your game up even more so. If that's something you personally like, I know some people who love to just boost the gamma on their game all the way up, then go for it. You know, these are my personal taste settings, what I personally like on my Dead by Daylight, but it's not going to be for everyone. You're going to have to figure out what you like. I personally don't want to overwhelm my senses with color that much. I feel like this is a really good middle ground of brightening some of the colors, brightening some of the darkness areas, and essentially sharpening the edges to deal with the fact that we don't have anti-aliasing in the game anymore. Sorry, we do have anti-aliasing. We can't disable it. So yeah, that's my personal settings for ReShade there. Hopefully, guys, this tutorial helped you. If it did, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment to let me know what you think of my ReShade settings, and if you have any questions about, I guess, anything, feel free to post them down in the description below, the comment below. I'm not a ReShade expert, guys, so I'm not going to be able to answer every question on which filter is best for that and what filter is best for this, but I can at least hopefully give you guidance on how to set up the stuff, and you know, like I said, these are the settings I found have improved my gameplay and made my game a bit more bearable to look at. So I know it kind of sucks right now that we can't disable anti-aliasing, but this is the tutorial that's going to I guess, hopefully help you with dealing with the fact that the game is now blurry as fuck. Hit the thumbs up button. Catch you guys on the next video.